He is known as ChocKolate-Man. He is Kris Rhymes, a professional visual artist based in Phoenix, Arizona. Listen as he shares with me the origin of the nickname, his future projects, and so much more. Stay tuned. Yeah, good morning to you, Kris, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, most definitely. Good afternoon.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking a little bit about your art. As I mentioned before we started recording, I've been watching from the first time that I encountered you. You said it was 2013, and I was so impressed with your work that, when this opportunity came up, you were definitely on my short list for people to talk to.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what's
because
up.
I find your work very interesting.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like, I think when you guys met, it was when I was doing the chocolate work. So I actually opened up on another collection too, just
Mhm.
kind of expressing more of myself and, the things I enjoy, which is music. And so that's where the album work came in. And so I've been working those two at the same time because I have two collections now. So, but yeah.
Okay, good. So you gave us a little glimpse of what we're going to talk about. But let's start with the very beginning. So growing up in South Phoenix, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was being an artist always a goal for you, or how did you come to the decision that you wanted to be an artist?
So really art wasn't on my radar growing up. I mean, it was more of a hobby. I grew up around basketball. The Rhymes family is definitely known for basketball out here. And so the moment you pick up a basketball, you're in, you know?
Okay.
And so that's kind of what it was, in grade school, middle school, high school. And I tapped in more into my art when I started taking classes uh, at Central. I was taking advertising design at Metro Tech, and so as I was doing that, I soon was able to like develop my craft and put more time into that. And so I knew that was where more of my love was at. And so I just continued to hone my skill and practice and kind of learn the ins and outs of the art industry.
Okay. So more or less you did have the formal education art-wise, but most of it is self-taught?
Yes, most of it is self-taught. I've taken a class in high school, taken a few, in community college. And outside of that, it was just, me wanting to learn, myself and kind of develop, a niche and a craft that, I can kind of explore down the road.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people ask me when they see like the portraits and stuff, they want to know if I've went to like an art school or whatnot. And, I'm happy to say that, yeah, no, I'm self-taught. And so it's good to know because a lot of people are wondering how do you create if you're not in school?
Yes.
It's almost like saying like if you won't have knowledge if you don't go to school or if you don't have a degree. And so
Right.
I'm glad that I'm kind of opening up that conversation and knowing that you can do something outside of school as well.
Mhm. And nowadays, it seems like it might be a bit easier with YouTube University and all these
Yeah.
different things that are out there for people to really learn on their own, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. So, you talked about you're called ChocKolate-Man, so because of
Yeah.
the the
Yeah.
collection. How did that come about? How did you even think of using chocolate? It's chocolate syrup, right? How,
Yeah.
how did you think of using it as instead of paint as a way to make your portraits?
So it started off, growing up, I used to kind of play around with food and stuff like that, different things that were outside of your normal art supplies.
Okay.
And so as I was exploring that, I had like a flashback and I was watching the Willy Wonka and there was a quote and I don't know it quote for quote, but he was talking about imagination and kind of exploring that. And so those two kind of came together, and that's what allowed me to do the first chocolate piece called Women with Soul, where I added like Aretha Franklin, Etta James, Nina Simone, all these women, during the, 50s, 60s. And I did them all with chocolate. And so that was my first piece that I did. And then that's when I started practicing and making it better.
Oh, great. Wow.
Yeah.
So are those pieces edible?
I know, right? Everybody can get some strawberries and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
I had to ask. I mean, I've
Yeah,
seen,
a lot of people ask that, it don't matter where I'm at, they'll ask, is it edible? Can I eat it?
right. But they're beautiful. I've seen the ones you've done, Michael Jackson, and like you said, the ladies. It's really impressive. I really like that. So you said that you came about, the inspiration. So obviously you use a lot of music and film as inspiration, but what else inspires you?
What else inspires me to create is just human interaction, being around things, seeing different shapes and certain textures. Uh, just a lot of those things kind of create, the piece or the actual series that I build up. Like I'm even working on a series now, on both sides of the collection, and it's definitely going to be very impactful. I think this is going to definitely wow a lot of people. So I got a lot of stuff up under my sleeve,
Mm.
and so for the time being, it's just been a lot of learning. I've just been kind of soaking in a lot of information and just learning the business and learning how to really grab an audience.
hmm Let's talk about that for a moment. So, being an artist, usually people just want to focus on what they love doing, which is the art part. But you
Mm.
venture into entrepreneurship because you have to represent yourself. How do you manage, or what have you learned from managing both the art part and the entrepreneurship part?
Well, that's been a tough one for me because, when you're as an artist, you have just a creative thought process
Mhm.
and you're constantly thinking of, new pieces to, explore in. And so when it comes to the business side, um, that's where like I don't have a lot of my specialty in, but I've been learning and just constantly finding ways to kind of better that. Um, on the more side, I've looked into management, and that's definitely been helping out a lot because it allows me to focus more on the creativity, and I can put my ideas in on things that I want to do, things where I want to be, how I want to execute certain businesses and stuff. But it's more so getting it together. My whole thought process is focusing on, the work and how to get it all done.
Okay. So then it sounds like you have a manager now.
It's in the process. We've been working on it. When we had did the process with the I Promise School, we had worked on a project with them, and we're looking to go back. And so it's just been more so just creating and building up new work. So I'll be ready to just focus on the business side of things, while things come in together.
Okay, so that was going to be one of the questions. The I Promise School. So we know it's the school in Ohio that was opened up by LeBron James. How did you connect with the school and able to be invited over there?
So the manager that I'm speaking on, she kind of helped me with the process. This is, before, we had any agreement or any sign or any whatnot. And she's based out of Miami, and so there was something that I wanted to do, and we presented it as if as if she was my manager, and so we had sent the information off to them and had the piece. My mom was the one who sparked the idea of like saying, like, hey, the school had opened up, see what you can get. the worst thing they could say is no. So that's where the whole idea sparked. So then I got in touch with the lady in Miami, and we put it all together to see what they say. And so from us putting that email together, about 2, 3 days later, we got the response, and they were open to hearing more about me, what I'm about, what I was looking to do, and um, it was bigger than the art piece itself because I wanted to be more involved with the children and the arts, and it was all about getting that, just getting your foot in the door, getting the connection and building the relationships with those people.
So you talked about going to the I Promise school, and were they looking for something specific, or did you hear of anything and you just put a proposal together, like you were saying?
Yeah, just put a proposal together. Of course, when they see the piece, that was the main thing they wanted to look at. But we kind of explored more into the idea where we wanted to get with the kids and teach them more about the arts and even myself. And so that's kind of what kind of brought them in to want to do work with us.
Okay. And what are you looking to do with the children over there? Because it sounds like you're willing to share your experience being self-taught with those
Hmm.
young ones.
Yes, exactly. Even in the arts, like a lot of people aren't aware of, like the do's and don'ts. And so, me as a professional artist, to be in the classroom and speak to the kids and teach them certain things that they don't know outside of the school's curriculum, I
Mm.
think that would help out a lot, and it would build a better bond as well, because they'll know like this person is doing work just like me, and he's doing a lot for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, it's good to see and encourage people to kind of step outside of the boundaries of, like you were saying earlier, you have to get a degree or this and that. If the talent is there, why not just build upon it, right? So
Yeah,
that's great.
exactly.
That's great. So you talk about, how you started and everything, but let's talk about current actually, before we do that, your current projects, you touched up on two collections that you have. So the chocolate, we talked about the chocolate one. And what is
Mhm.
the second one?
The second one is the cover to cover collection, and it's where I use actual albums and I kind of cut them up and put them together as like this collage puzzle. And this thing opened up, when my great grandmother passed, and this was about, I would say, 2014. And so when that happened, we shared an actual bond with, music. I used to share mine, and she used to share me hers. And so from that, I kind of wanted to open up more of myself and share, like, I have a love for music of all genres. And so this right here went from ChocKolate-Man to Kris Rhymes. And so I made it more focused on me rather than an entity, you know? Because if I'm ChocKolate-Man, that's everything's gonna be focused on chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to be like the Steve Urkel of the art world, where where you just focused on one particular thing and you can't get nothing else.
Yeah,
Everybody just expects chocolate,
exactly. It's
and
limited.
so yeah, it's very limiting knowing that you can do more. I don't
Mhm.
want to give out more. I just want to do it piece by piece, because if you over exaggerate it, people won't know what you do, because now all your stuff is all over the place. But these two collections are definitely a part of me, and that's something that I wanted to express.
But as you said, it's all about expansion, right? As you're learning and growing as a person, you may at one point want to explore something else, but you will
Mhm.
not just limit yourself to those two types of ways of making art, would you?
Oh no, not at all. Like, we got like a lot of plans in store, from doing things live to doing actual TV shows to, doing projects with other companies. Like, it's definitely going to expand. And that's why I took it from ChocKolate-Man to K Rhymes artistry. K Rhymes artistry is expansion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's definitely a part of me. And there's different things that I want to express, but I want to do it uh, the right way as well. I don't want to be, everywhere. I definitely want to cater to a market and understand my niche. Right? And that's the thing. It's about grabbing the audience and knowing who your audience is at the same time.
Mm. So over the years, because you started doing exhibits, expositions, and all that, when back into 2011, 2012.
Hmm.
Yeah, so what have you, some of the things, some of the feedback that you've received so far in that perhaps will help you or have helped you really determine what your niche is?
So the niches, like I feel like all of that is pretty covered. Like there's people, like I've even taken it back with shows, and there's still people asking like, "Yo, what happened to that dude? He does the chocolate work. When is he gonna do a show again?" Or, "Yo, I see he got a new collection. He got the album work. That's dope." Blah blah blah. And so the niche is pretty covered. It's more so what I've learned is how to make my work even better. And that's where criticism comes in. I know a lot of people don't like to hear criticism, but it's the best thing to take because it allows you to better your craft and grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay,
know,
that's good.
and
So,
so that's what a lot that I took from throughout the years.
okay. So who is your client? Who is your work targeted towards?
My work is targeted towards, of course, chocolate lovers.
Okay.
uh, people that think beyond surface level. Because I'm that type of person. I like to definitely like to explore my horizon and think beyond what we're actually seeing,
Okay.
having a wider perspective. So a lot of people like that, and they like to engage in that type of conversation, things that we know is out there that's not being seen.
Mm.
So those a lot of people don't know I'm into horror. I'm even creating work, in those lines. Even starting a actual podcast on that type of stuff. The music, um, with album work, I have a love for music, and so that's another thing that I'm expressing and putting out. And so a lot of these different traits of mine are all catered to my expression, and a lot of people like to gauge in with that. And as long as you have an audience that knows what they want, then you should be fine.
Okay. All right. And both collections are more because I saw it was Nipsey Hussle. It was part of the cover collections, right? And like I
Yeah.
said earlier, Michael Jackson and others, the just chocolate collection. Are you more so into portraits as opposed to maybe nature, or what's attractive in portraits?
Portraits to me is kind of seeing through the soul,
Mm.
and when you're able to kind of capture that, it's a still moment, and you're constantly looking at the actual facial expression, and everybody knows. I mean, we have, our we're happy, we're angry, we're frustrated, we're sad. I mean, we have so many emotions as humans, and so the fact that somebody can actually see that in a still moment is captivating, especially with the eyes, because that's the window to the soul. And
Yes.
so that's my main thing, and that's where I start off at is eyes, because if the eyes isn't right, then the expression isn't right.
Oh, wow. Okay. So which brings me to talk about the process. How do you, or should I ask, a step-by-step process of what makes, the art? Because you say it starts with the eyes, and then what?
Hmm. It starts with the eyes, and then onto the eyebrows, and then merging out into the nose and getting to the mouth, to the chin, and then everything else will kind of form itself. I'll form the face just off of completing the eyes, nose, and mouth, and you kind of know how the face is going to come about, you know. And so, and I enjoy doing it because it is an expression that you're creating, and when people see it, they feel it too because they was probably like that 2 hours ago or something,
Okay.
and so it's I definitely get a kick out of that.
Wow. So there, okay, I cannot draw. I can't even draw an apple. I cannot draw any, not even a banana, nothing. So I'm curious to know, do you do everything on paper, regular paper and erase and everything, or you just go straight to canvas?
I go straight to canvas sometimes. It depends on the inspiration or how I'm feeling. If I want to really produce and make sure like this is accurate, this is exactly how I want it to be, I'll start off by creating it on paper, and then I'll kind of create the boxing to make sure everything is spaced the right way and kind of set it up that way.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'll start off with the drawing, and then I'll make sure the drawing's right, and then I'll find a way to get that onto the canvas.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
for somebody who doesn't have that talent, and just when, you map it out in your brain and it comes on paper, it goes on canvas, it's incredible.
yeah, yeah.
So, hey, people like me would just enjoy it. I can't even pretend that I can do something like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I enjoy what other people do that I'm not able to do.
Exactly.
So it
Yeah,
goes hand in hand. You
exactly.
know.
So let's talk about current times, with the pandemic and everything. Has that shifted a little bit how you do your work, or how is it going on for you?
So when it all started, a part of me was like, damn, like everything stopped. And so a part of me was kind of in a funk. And so it lasted for like a good month to where I was just trying to get my thoughts together. And as time went on, I realized like, yo, we here, and this ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So at this point, you got to make the best out of anything you put yourself in, and find a way. And so, which now has opened me up to getting into the virtual world, and letting my face be seen even more outside of in public. And so it's definitely stepping out of my comfort zone because I don't like being around cameras and stuff unless I have to. And so, but this is all part of the process. This is all part of the growth.
Mhm.
It's all happened for a reason in some sense, you
Yeah,
know. And so now that you're put in this situation, you gotta make the best of it. And so
exactly.
now, I've been exploring into new ways, and you'll see it pretty soon. I actually have a art video that I'll be posting soon about a piece I finished. So I'll be more engaged with uh, social media on pieces that I do, kind of explaining it, how I'm doing it, where the inspiration comes from, and it's also going to be put into an actual TV show.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, so sometimes I'll invite guests who can explain albums, what it means to me, what it means to you, what it means to the culture, you
Mhm.
know, and just kind of creating dialogue, and allowing people to be engaged into something that matters in some sense, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's been my whole thing. I've been working with, some homies with podcasts. We've been doing that. I'm stepping into audio podcasts, looking to explore some more things that I love and express, which is I don't have a name for it, but one of my hobbies I enjoy. I'm a movie lover. I love watching movies, and one of the genres I like is horror. And so I'm exploring something on that, but something in a more fun, uh, like in a more fun, exciting way. I know that sounds crazy, but it's something that is going to be different, and a lot of people are going to see it and be like, I like that.
So is this going to be a film, or is it still part of the podcast?
Still start part of a podcast, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So you
Yeah.
have
Pretty much like movie review, kind
ah
of going over movies and like a lot of the things that we wouldn't really be doing in these movies.
okay.
And so, it's just kind of opening up those doors and allowing people to see more of me. A lot of people don't know, if you don't know me, you don't know a lot of the things I enjoy doing. And so, being that that is a form of art, that's something that needs to be expressed
Mhm.
because it'll get more of a connection with your audience,
Yeah.
you know. And
Mhm.
so, and that's what it's mainly about. I mean, it's more than just the content you produce, you're part of it as well. And so, if people are able to get a little more about you, they'll be more drawn to what you're able to put out.
Exactly. It's about expansion, as I was saying earlier, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And if, for you, your artistry doesn't start with those things that you've mentioned because it extends to people's heads, right? Because you're a barber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
barber as well.
a
Yeah,
professional
and so
barber. So how does that tie the artistry on people's hair by cutting people's hair?
the artistry, I mean, turning nothing into something. People come in, they're having a bad day or they couldn't get no sleep because their hair was, looking bad. When you come and sit in the chair, we can have a conversation. We can talk about, life. We can talk about good things, bad things. You know, we're counselors in a sense. So it's more than just cutting hair, but I just enjoy those moments and times with, customers and clients and making them feel good. Once they get out the chair, they feel brand new and they're ready to tackle the world.
Yeah.
And so that's a thing that I've been enjoying.
And that is part of the deal, right? As an artist and in any form, it's about inspiring people to have a different perception, perhaps, of themselves, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm even getting into practicing tattooing.
Oh,
A lot
really?
of people, and going back to your thought on the expressions of like why you do portraits, a lot of people ask me like, "Yo, do you do tattoos?" And so this has been going on for about 4 years where people ask me that anytime they see my work. And so I knew like that's a sign, universe is speaking out and I need to respond. So a lot of those things were being asked, and so now I need to answer it.
Yeah.
And so I've been kind of practicing on that, and I want my focal point on tattooing to be more on portraits. I don't want to go all in and make tattooing my full time gig, but I want to express and have another outlet as well. And doing tattooing and being able to do it through portraits will be another venture for me.
Wow, that's great. Different avenues, but it's still art.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. As long as it's in the arts, I mean, that's what it's all about.
Wow, that's great. So, speaking of the future projects, and you talked about the podcast, video, TV show. Where do people find all this information?
So it's not out yet. I'm producing it right now.
Okay.
Um, but it'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It'll be on all like social media outlets that most people use.
Hmm.
And so, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this new venture, and it's definitely gonna, definitely open a lot of doors from what I've been doing. And expansion is the key, and that's why I thought about these things, and I knew it was connected to me as well, which needs to be expressed. So, you know, when everything is all said and done, I'll definitely let you guys know.
Thank you. Look forward to that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one last thing, though, when you talk about having conversations with people, and we talk about you said about the eyes, something that we all know, but the eyes are the doors to the soul, something along those
Yeah,
lines.
yeah.
And So what do you think the role of the artist is, especially in times like this? You know, we're going through not only the pandemic, but social issues as well that are coming up and that have been there and are still here. What do you think the role of the artist or you as an artist is?
um, to pretty much express what's going on. You know, you have a voice, whether it be through visual arts, whether it be dancing, whether it be, you know, music, whether it be acting, whatever the case be. It's all a form of expression, and it's to get the word out there. We are pretty much messengers, if you think about it. You know, a lot of the stuff that we see, whether it be like graffiti on the wall, like that right there is telling a story. But you're not going to find anything like that because it's expressed through us, the human, you know.
Mhm.
And so you're not going to find anything on those matters because it's something that it's creativity, you know, and creativity is what moves people.
Right.
And I can have a regular conversation with someone, but it won't grab you as much as that art painting or that song, or you know.
Mhm.
And so I feel like we are the messengers, and we are to tell you something that you're not seeing, you know.
Wow, that's powerful. Being messengers, it feels like, is it a curse or is it a blessing? You know.
uh, I believe it's what you make it, honestly. I know I've heard that term where they say it's a curse and a blessing, but it's all what you make it at the end of the day, you know. And yeah, life, you know, has its ways of presenting things, and so whether it's making you feel bad or making you feel good, I think it's a good thing because it's an energy that could be used in any form, you know. So
Mhm.
if you're feeling bad, take that energy and apply it into something good. If you having like good energy, you can even apply that, you know. And so energy is energy, regardless of if whatever mood you're in,
Right.
you know.
Thank you. Some words of wisdom there.
Yeah, yeah. It's starting to, yeah,
Yeah.
it's starting to come out now. You're getting the flow,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been there. I've noticed that it's been
yeah.
there. So yeah, thank you. So any final words for our audience?
Um, Best thing I could say is definitely keep your mind open, be safe, be considerate of others, and find ways to better your circumstances.
Mm.
I know it's been tough for a lot of people, even tough for me. But we always have to prevail and be stronger than you know what the case is showing. So that would be my word to the people, is to be strong and find ways to strive and make things better.
Definitely. Thank you for that. And thank you
Yeah.
for your time. I look forward to seeing your future works, definitely. And all the links, we'll provide links on the video. So thank you and
Okay.
have a great afternoon in Phoenix.
All right. You do the same.
Thank you.
Guys.